At 12 Eastern. Catch it all right here Monday through Friday on FS1.
Doug Gottlieb does not like ice cream. A little inside the rope stuff. Only person I've ever known. I can't eat anymore because I'm old and I have something wrong with my stomach. It really changed my life. Not as happy today as I used to be. I used to eat ice cream all day long.
What do you mean? You're like lactose intolerant? Because there's other kinds of ice cream. I never think to myself like, ooh, ice cream sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's kind of wasted calories. Yeah.
Yes. I'm appetizers over desserts.
It's the worst take out of both of you by far.
I
don't eat ice cream every night, but like, who doesn't enjoy ice cream?
Well, Joy, not all my takes are solid. That's just one of my bad takes.
That's not really a take, though. I didn't say ice cream is bad. I
just don't
said
like
I didn't enjoy it. Like a take is like, ice cream is bad, and here's why. Bam, bam, bam.
Exactly.
Nick Wright with stats coming out. Let me tell you, Gottlieb, you're so wrong about ice cream. Look at this statistical analysis of why ice cream is more amazing now than it ever was. And when LeBron eats ice cream, it's unbelievable.
Right. You just don't like ice cream.
But Kawhi eating ice cream, nobody gets better because of it.
Let's talk about Kyrie. Okay, let's talk about Kyrie. Okay, there's a lot of stats, and I don't want to be analytics guy, but there's a lot of efficiency numbers, winning percentage, assist ratio. They just drop when Kyrie's on the floor with Boston. And we know that basketball is a team sport, and there are some superstars that are unbelievable isolation players. Kobe could be one of the best of all time. Kevin Durant's the ultimate get-a-bucket guy, but the Warriors have a losing record on his best nights. What do you make of Kyrie? Where do you go from here if you're Boston?
I think you have to. I heard today on our former network, Jalen Rose say, hey, this used to be a pace and space team. When, Jalen? When? It was never a pace and space team. That just didn't happen, okay? Isaiah Thomas used to do the exact same thing that Kyrie is doing, which is end of the shot clock, go off a ball screen, get a mismatch, and go. And you know what they're struggling with? There's just not mismatches against Milwaukee.
Right.
Hey, newsflash, Milwaukee was the best defensive team in the NBA in the regular season, and they're the best defensive team in the NBA in the postseason.
I want to throw this at you. I told the guys this morning, I said, if the Celtics were playing the Sixers now, good matchup. If they're playing the Raptors, better matchup. Are we over-dramatizing last night simply because Milwaukee's a terrible matchup for Boston?
Not just that, but the East is completely different than last year.
Right.
People want to say, well, it's the Sixers. The Sixers added Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, and however flawed Ben Simmons' game is and however sick Joel Embiid is, they're a year older, they're a year better.
True.
Right? The Milwaukee Bucks have put a better roster around Giannis, and he's gotten better as well.
Yeah.
They're a far better team, far more refined team, and a better coach team as Bud has had more time to integrate his system.
Milwaukee's a better team this year.
Well, Toronto Raptors are a better team they were last year. And, oh, yeah, by the way, the Celtics didn't have to play Toronto last year. They only had to play Boston, who didn't have Kyrie Irving, and limped their way into Boston. And the game went 7 games. Look, you can tell me that these Celtics are great. They're not. The Celtics won the trade for Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
But Jason Tatum is not a superstar that everybody wants him to be. Not yet, and maybe not ever. He's a really, really good player. Yeah. He's in his 2nd year in the NBA. He's in his 3rd year out of high school. And he's just a good player who has flaws.
Yeah.
Do I think Kyrie's playing great? No. I think he does have a tendency to be selfish. He does have a tendency to pout. He doesn't get back defensively at times when he doesn't get what he wants on the offensive end.
Yeah.
But he's far and away your best player, and I think the surrounding talent with the Celtics is overrated. I think Brad, as much of a genius and a friend of mine as he is, I think he's had a tough time relating to this team and the social kind of inner workings with them.
Yeah.
And I think the Milwaukee Bucks are really freaking good, that the regular season showed us what they could be, and they've played that exact same way here in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I knew this morning coming in, I thought, don't ignore the reality is Milwaukee makes Boston earn every bucket. It's hard. They're deep. They have a great bench. Giannis is a rim protector. They've got other bigs. Listen, Milwaukee, I thought this morning, if Boston just ends up a 3, not a 4 seed, and you look at them and they don't have to face Milwaukee, we think this whole Kyrie thing is fine. Then if they lose to Milwaukee in the East, we're like, well, Milwaukee's great. Maybe we should acknowledge sooner Milwaukee's great. Now, I want to go to something yesterday I said that, and people freak out about stuff, but I've been pretty good. I bailed on Westbrook before everybody else. I bailed on Melo, Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin. I know Kawhi is great. I think he's the best, second best guy in the league at go get a bucket. KD's the best. Just go get a bucket. Kobe Bryant was the best ever.
James Harden's in that conversation.
Yeah,
okay. But then both of them and Giannis play the other end of the floor where Harden's not.
Kawhi's a great defensive player. I'm not denying that Kawhi is great. You can make an argument he's the second best player in the world.
A little bit.
But Toronto was 17-5 without him. He does not pass. His usage rate, Greg Popovich acknowledged, my advice to him is when I call a play for you, I'm calling it for the team. He doesn't communicate. He's not tied in a string. And there's times with Kawhi I'm like, yes, he's great, but does he make people better?
Yes.
Does he?
This is a team that
3 assists.
Look, again, if we're going to go by stats, if you're going to do the Nick Wright thing where you fall on stats, then
Yes.
Russell Westbrook is the greatest NBA player we've ever seen.
I don't want to hear that.
No, I'm just saying, no player since Oscar Robertson has ever averaged a triple-double in the entire season.
Yeah.
He's done it 3 consecutive years. Nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
So if we're going to go by stats, then he's the greatest ever. And if we go and do stats even in the playoffs now, we're like, wow, all these guys are putting up historic statistical numbers. Why? Because of the usage, and there's no big guys, there's no power forwards. It's a different sport.
No hand check.
Look, he plays both ends. He's embarrassed Ben Simmons in the series by guarding him and guarding him smartly, not letting him get to the cup.
Yeah.
He can match up with any of 5 positions defensively, and he has improved as a three-point shooter like nothing we've seen. He can score in the post.
Yeah.
Is he a shot creator? No.
Well, he's not a playmaker.
No, but that's not what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to go win his games. And he went winning games. Like, he's awesome. They're better because they said, DeMar DeRozan, you're really, really good, but you can't make threes, and there's a limit to who you can guard defensively. Let's go get a better player. That's why they were willing to get rid of DeMar DeRozan, who's an all-star, to get a superstar. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar. Is he verbal enough? Not with you and me. He's not entertaining enough. But you know what? He's verbal enough to win the NBA Finals MVP. Hell, let's just be honest. They should have beaten the Miami Heat twice if they make a free throw, right? If Ray Allen doesn't make the corner 3, we're talking 2 Spurs championships, and he's at least the Finals MVP for one of them, maybe 2 of them.
You know, we always take players and we compare them to somebody. I'm going to give you 2 players that Kawhi is like. The first one, I think you'll agree with, Alex English. They didn't sweat. I don't think Alex English sweat in 20 years. He played. He was quiet. He's the best free throw angle shooter I've ever seen. You look up and you're like, Alex English had 36 tonight and had some playoff success without the title. The second one is the hand size, the cut, the physicality. There is a little...
Scottie Pippen?
I was going to say he's a better pure shooter than Scottie.
Yeah,
he's got a little Michael in him, a little bit. He's got a little Michael Jordan where Michael was the best mid-range player I've ever seen. Kawhi's becoming the best mid-range player, he and Durant, I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean they're amazing.
They're
they
just
have long
amazing.
arms, big hands. I wouldn't.
You know,
I've seen other people, like, people forget that Michael Jordan was a guard. Kawhi was a center when he was in high school, and every year he's developed his perimeter game more.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael developed his perimeter jump shot and also developed a post game. Look, I don't know. I don't think he's like Jordan. I think some of the things that these guys do is Jordan-esque and taking over games late, where you know what's coming and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah.
They're basically playing without a point guard, right? None of their point guards have been any good at all. And recently, if you have a guy who can't make shots and can't get stops at the point guard position, you're screwed in the NBA, and the Raptors are still up 2-1 in this series, or
no, it's 2-2 headed to Toronto.
2-2, but it feels
like Toronto's got a real edge here.
It feels like Kawhi's the best player, Joel Embiid's the most talented player, Ben Simmons is being completely taken out of the game, and the Raptors that's not a very good team without Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, so I got a minute and a half, and I want you to answer this. 4 good players for the Sixers. If they lose this series, they're not all re-signing big contracts.
Yes.
If I told you, pick 2 going forward, who are your 2?
I mean, it just depends on the health on Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid's maybe the most talented big guy to ever play the game. But the health thing, you and I discussed it last week. It's hard to buy into. But then Jimmy Butler, does anybody actually want to play with him?
All their guys have an issue.
Yeah, I mean, Tobias Harris is great, but was he great as an alpha, or is he great as their 4th best player?
He's a 3rd, 4th best guy.
Right, and then you got Ben Simmons, who work ethic is always in question. Does he have any desire to actually shoot the basketball?
So his work ethic is in question.
Some, yeah. Like, you've been in the league. He hasn't been in the league for a long time, but you've been in the league a little bit. Like, can you develop? And then the Kardashian thing makes people think, kind of like James Harden. You remember when James Harden was dating a Kardashian?
Yeah,
he came in a little bit out of shape, and now he's in the best shape of his life, and he's the best offensive player maybe in the league.
No, I remember when he came out and he said, "I'm bailing on this. My basketball game's deteriorating." And you're like, okay. He chose the right exit off the freeway. No, it's funny on this because I keep saying, short term Embiid's your answer. But, man, when I hear bad knees, bad diet, calling a coach at 6 a.m., and I'm like, man, that's a lot of maintenance. That's a lot of maintenance, Doug.
Yeah, but if you saw him when he played in Game 3, you'd be like, he's worth the maintenance.
No, I mean,
right?
listen, there is a Shaq thing here.
It's not just Shaq. Like, listen, if Shaq could shoot, if Shaq could handle, if Shaq could guard in the perimeter, and look, his work ethic's calling into question. He needs to lose 20 pounds. He needs to have a dietitian with him. He needs to have a body guy with him. He needs to treat it like, look, if I'm a superstar, I can't. He needs what Dirk Nowitzki took 2 hours to get him ready to play every game this year.
Yeah.
He needs to handle his body just like that, even though he's in his early 20s. If he does, he could be the greatest big guy we've ever seen, and there have been a lot of great big guys. He's that talented a player.
Good stuff, Doug Gottlieb, the Duggar Fox Sports Radio. After our show on the radio network,